my only request is that once we get all done, if I can get you two to stay on for just a couple extra seconds to make sure that everything uploads to the system. We've had it happen before where it didn't, and we lost it all. We never got it back. Had to reschedule. So just like sit tight for a couple minutes. It shouldn't take very long. The system has been a lot better about it lately, but if you can just like hang tight for a second, and then Alex will tell us.
Like any words we're not allowed to say?
Oh no! For reference, you can cuss like a sailor. I don't care. I don't expect a whole lot of littles to be listening to this anyways. There are truly no topics that are off limits. We are LGBTQ, all of those alphabets, 100% safe. I get lost in it sometimes. There's so many letters in there, but we're a total safe space for that community and pretty much like all communities. This is like a community like safe space.
Love it.
So talk about there's no subjects that are off limits. I have a little bit of a design for a conversation, but the conversation goes where it goes once we kind of get started, if that makes any sense. So welcome to our show, guys. And thank you for joining us here on Chatting Underground, where our goal is to bring what's below ground above ground and share music with the world from a scene that they don't see all the time. So we are here with Serious Shirley. See, I said it right, Alex.
Took you long enough.
For like 2 weeks, I've had it written down as Seriously.
Happens all the time.
It's not
missed opportunity, I always say. A couple weeks ago, we were strapped Shirley. I don't know how that happened, but, it's fine.
I saw that when I was going down the deep dive of Facebook social media today. I was like, what is this? They have I'm confused about the band thing going here. I was like, which came first? The Serious Shirley or the Strapped Shirley?
So Serious Shirley came first, and then we started Shirley Stripped acoustic last year.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Well,
I totally screwed that up. See, that's, you know what? I blame that on my brain is dyslexic, not just my eyeballs.
That's okay. So venues have a hard time sometimes with letters and getting the act's name right. And so we've been Seriously Shirley a lot. We've been Strapped Shirley when we were Shirley Stripped. We've been Stripped Sarah, which I was like, I'm not stripping. That's up to Zach. I'm not doing that. And we've been Sarah Shirley, and it's the whole gamut. It's fine, I guess no PR. Any PR is good PR, they say, right?
Right. You're like, just let me get to the stage. So when I was kind of like looking through your social media, it's the first time I didn't get to the end of your social media. I was like, there's so much here. How long? You guys are very active. Like super, super active on your social media. So how long have you guys, how long have you, Sarah, been in the music industry? Like, what is your background?
Well, how far back do we want to go?
Well, the other day I did one, and he was like, I've been singing in the industry since I was 3. So, just kind of like an idea for like what, because I've listened to some of your songs. Like I've listened to some of the reels that you had, and I was like, she has to have some kind of training in here somewhere.
Thank you. Yeah. So I actually started when I was 2. My mom was an opera singer and a vocal teacher. My dad was a pianist and organ player, and they met and got together, and then they were in a Christian band in the East, and they toured all over the East Coast. We were originally from Pennsylvania, and they went all over, and it was called Ministry and Song. And so they had me on stage singing and doing things since I was 2. And then I didn't want to be like my mom. I didn't want to sing because that was mom's thing. And I didn't want to be like mom. I was always giving a hard time. I was a rebel. So I actually started out playing piano first, and then did piano competitions around the US. And then decided, okay, yeah, I kind of want to sing too. So then I really started doing that, classical training, symphonies, singing with the symphony and the choirs and things. But I really, really loved rock and roll. And I mean, I got grounded when I was 12 for listening to Green Day because I wasn't allowed to listen to rock music or anything but classical. So yeah, it's been a while. I do have a vocal performance degree. So that's kind of, I get that a lot where they're like, oh, I hear training, or I hear a little bit of classical in there. And yep, it's slowly leaving a little bit, I think, because you start getting that rock rasp the more that you sing those harder songs. But yeah, that's kind of my background.
Okay. And what about you, Zach?
You guys just keep on. I'll do what I can do.
Well, I could hear you.
I would say I can hear you now.
Yeah.
Maybe you're just too far away.
Oh, brother. Now I got a hole.
Yeah, now I got to see your nuts.
Or talk louder.
See my knot? Is that better?
Yeah.
A little bit, yeah.
No, we had that Verizon problem today in our area where a lot of phones were just done. So I don't know ass end of it or what,
Maybe.
I don't know.
Possibly.
Who knows? So did you hear anything I said? Or
I got like kind of bits and pieces about a little wooden guitar.
Anyways, I played in bands all through high school.
Okay.
Now I'm gun shy because I'm scared that you can't hear me.
Oh no, you're good. I can hear you now.
All right, cool. So when I was in the Navy, I was all through California going and watching different bands and just seeing the scene and falling in love with it, all again. Got out and kind of started back up and have been going strong for 12 years now. So.
Okay. So I did see that you guys just did this past earlier in the month, like real recently, had a little like short expose kind of on the local news there in South Dakota. Yeah. And my take on that was kind of like the boys in the band were already there, and Sarah kind of came in later as like that final piece.
Yep. We had Steve and I, which is the drummer, we had another group going that it was more male driven music, like your cover music of anywhere from Dio to that kind of deal,
Yeah.
And our singer, he had decided he was going to get married, so he basically threw playing on the side, and so we had an opening, and we honestly didn't really even try out anyone except Sarah. And as soon as we heard, like, bada bing, bada boom, there we go.
Nice. Okay. And so, like, how long have you guys been a collective together then?
Sarah and I?
Yeah.
What, over 2 years now? 3 years?
3 years now. We started the fall of 2021. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, see, that's why I was like, I try to go back and be like, this is when they popped up on, but I was like, there's so much social media here. I am never going to get to the end of this. I'll just ask.
We try to stay really relevant so that we don't get lost in the shuffle of the algorithms, as they say. And then in the last year, we've had a lot of attention as far as a small town starting out as a cover band goes, with our single releasing. And so we've been trying to just really push it. Zach took social media classes. It's really cute. And he knows more than I do about how to like get people to follow your page and I think the sad part about that is like we thought that we were really cool with like 2.6 thousand followers, but when we met with a record company, they're like, no, unless you have like over 10,000, it's nothing. You know, we're like, have you been to South Dakota?
Right. South Dakota isn't that big. Yeah, South Dakota is not that big. So, what part of South Dakota are you from? Are you from Sioux Falls?
Yes.
You are. Okay. We tend
Go ahead.
to
I'm
do
sorry.
a lot of interviews with Sioux Falls bands, and we don't even live there anymore.
That's funny.
I just like when in March, I think it was when Alex and I started talking about doing a podcast together. I reached out to my buddy Scott, and I threw the idea at him, and it's like, "Oh, you need to do this." And then it snowballed into, "Well, you're going to be my first interview because A, you're my friend, B, you got a band, you're a promoter." And then from there, that's how I got Pray for Villains on.
Nice.
Nice.
Hilarious. I love them.
So, yeah, well, we're excited. We're going to be back in Sioux Falls at the end of October for a friend's birthday party. And so we're going to be able to kind of like see some of the people and hang out that have come on the show.
What?
So we're super excited
When
about
are you
that.
gonna be in Sioux Falls? Like
We are going to be in Sioux Falls on October 25th and 26th. We're coming into town to go to Buddha's 50th birthday party at Biggs.
Oh.
Well,
Walking out of there?
you should take a short jaunt on the 26th down to the Den, which is the old Buffalo Wild Wings, and catch our Halloween show, or part of it.
Oh. We'll have to see. The party at Biggs starts at 5:30. No, doors open at 5, show starts at 6:30.
Nice.
So
That'll be fun.
one of us might be able to sneak out.
Just for
but
we're headlining. We only play like 90 minutes, and I think they're done at like 12:30. So.
Oh, okay. We'll see what we can make.
Yeah.
But okay, so we're gonna backtrack into you had said that your mom sung opera, and so you have like this classical training. And I think that I'd had this conversation with Alex, or I'd had it with myself in the car because I talk to myself a lot in the car. Because I had listened. Well, I had listened to your newest single, and I had added it to Alex's playlist, and I was like, "Hey, you need to check out the song called Jaded." And right away, I was like, she has to have had some training, and B, this sounds a whole lot like our operatic metal that we already listened to.
Really?
Because I have been a fan of what they call gothic operatic metal for years. I love Nightwish.
Too.
I love Within Temptation. Under Heaven, you've got the Schoolyard Heroes. All of these women are opera singers.
Yeah.
And they brought it in and they turned it into metal. And immediately when I heard Jada, that is what I thought of. I was like, this is an operatic metal sound to it. I was like, it has that big sound. It has those long open draws on the words. And I just knew. I was like, she's got training. I like it.
That's a huge compliment. Thank you. Like, I didn't even think about that. I always think that sometimes I sound more kind of classical in our heavy metal song, or I wouldn't say metal. We're not heavy metal. That was the wrong word. Heavy rock. My bass player would correct me to his death because he's coming from a deathcore band. And I said death metal on stage one time, and he's like, no, it is deathcore. I'm like, oh, sorry. Uncharted territories for me. But yeah, Nightwish is a bucket list for me. I love them so much. Love them.
Me too. I got to see them when Laura was the vocalist. So it was one vocalist back.
when they did and recorded Phantom of the Opera, I was like, oh, someday I want to do their metal version of Phantom of the Opera. That would just be so kick-ass.
Well, and she just has like they have such an amazing sound to them, and they bring that metal and that opera sound together, and they do it so beautifully. And so with your song Jaded, like I said, immediately that's what I would drew from that. I was like, this is where I was like, I like the sound of this. And then I listened to the other two singles. I'm like, wait a minute, they don't all sound alike. But at the same time, though, I find that as that means that you guys haven't like settled into a specific style. You are still evolving your style,
so
like where you want to go.
Yeah, and I'm glad you bring that up because Jaded is our style. So you probably listened to Missing Key, which was actually originally written just for acoustic for our Shirley strips, because we were asked and got the opportunity to play in Sioux Falls. They do Fridays on the Plaza every summer. So every Friday you get to have a little snippet on the news, and then people come down on their lunch break and they listen to acoustic duos or solo people play. And in order to do that, you have to have at least one original song. And we had talked about writing, and we just hadn't really had the opportunity. Where there was a lot of member changes within Serious Shirley that went on. And so Zach and I were like, well, let's just write the song and call it good. Well, then it kind of took off from there. And then we started playing it for the full band, and then we recorded it. But our hearts, we still had Jaded in the wings. Like, it's one of those things. Have you ever had one of those projects or experiences where it's just like under your skin because something always happens and you can't get it finished? And so then when you just like get it finished and you get it out, you're like, oh, thank God it's out there, and what we want is out there. And now people are going to know what is really on brand for Serious Shirley. So that's Jaded is what we are.
Okay. So what about that song Rest in Peace?
That's by Dorothy.
Did you write that one too?
No. Have you ever heard of Dorothy? If you haven't, you should look her up because you'd love her. She is really hot right now, but I liked her before she was even popular. Dorothy, Dorothy. She does the song Black Sheep. Her new one out is, what is it, Zach?
Mud, I think.
Mud. Down to the Bottom. And then we do Rest in Peace. And Rest in Peace is such a cool song, and it just kind of fits us so well. So that's one of our favorite covers to play. But yeah, I'm a fan.
Okay, I did kind of take a rabbit hole down your covers and notice that you guys do a lot of like meshing of songs.
Love doing. Because like we get a lot of, what would you say, requests to do certain songs, and some of them maybe aren't our all-time favorite. You know what I mean? It's just kind of like everyone does them. So then what I do on the writing side of it is try to find songs that are in the same keys, in the same kind of chord progression, or like that one tune we do with Sublime and Green Day. They're basically the same chords, so we're playing a Green Day song with Sublime over it, and it just matches. Just trying to mess with the listener a little bit, and have some fun. So.
Okay, and then because that was kind of where I noticed that I'm like, well, they don't like kind of like stick like you did. What was it? I just lost it. Creep. I wasn't in that song. Yeah, I came across you guys had a live version video of Creep earlier. And then somewhere else I had scrolled through and came across one of your mashups And I don't remember what the first song was, but the second song on your mashup caught me because it was the interlude for Inner Sandman. And I was like, what? Wait a second.
I think was that mash that we did with Don't Stop Believing and Inner Sandman.
I don't know how she found that. Holy crap. Leave it up to
the
internet.
I do. I go down a rabbit hole every week for an interview because I don't want to come in and be like, I know absolutely nothing.
Well, that's awesome. That's
yeah.
So I do. And I also had saw that you guys did, or I don't know if it was a band thing or if it was just a Sarah thing, but how does this work with this country versus rock?
Oh, that is so funny. So we won, by the way. Rock won. Okay.
Rock always.
I was going to say rock has to always win.
Right.
Yeah.
So I have a friend. Her name is Danica Michaels. She's a country singer-songwriter in the area. She opens up for a lot of country acts that come through. And there is a venue called The Social in Sioux Falls, and they wanted to do a rock versus country event and have us sing duets. Really, I just sang country with her because she was too nervous to sing rock. But she did do a good job on Metallica. She was so nervous. She's like, I don't sing this stuff. Like, I don't know what to do. I was like, you're fine. Anyway, so we did a rock versus country, and it was this big thing. They took our pictures, and they sold tickets. It was one of the only things that we've done that they've sold tickets for, and they did a sold-out show. And then people can write down what band they are voting for, and then our friends, Deja Vu, they were the MCs, and they would, at the end, they're like, okay, who do here, let's draw the names, and then the how did they do that, Zach? They did free drinks, I think, just to keep people pumped up in between the set changes. So, because we would play like 4 songs, and then she would come on and play 4 songs, and then in between to kill that changeover time, they would have me or Danica draw out a name, and then that person got a free drink. And then at the end, then it was, okay, who do you vote for? Is it rock or is it country? And then the crowd, woo, who gets more applause kind of thing. So
that's cool.
It was a lot of fun. She and I went to high school together. She was a year ahead of me. And so, we didn't stay in touch by any means. And then the last couple of years, music kind of brought us back together, even though we're completely polar opposites with music wise. It was really cool to be able to do a show together like that. So, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, like I said, I just had go through the depths of social media.
Did you, going back to the matchup thing, did you know that Purple Rain and Faithfully are in the same key and they start out exactly the same acoustically? Yeah, it is really kind of interesting and funny because whenever we start playing Faithfully, everybody thinks that it's Prince. So we're working on making that into a mashup.
A mashup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool.
So, how often do the two of you do acoustic sets then?
Every week.
Whenever the band isn't playing, basically.
Yeah.
So, like last weekend, the band had off, so we had 2 shows. And so we were busy Friday and Saturday. They really
stay very busy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how I look at it is, if you're not playing in front of someone, you're not going to get better because you got to keep seeing what it is you need to do to improve, and
Right.
Plus it's a blast, so I can't pass it up.
He can't. He's addicted. If we don't have shows, he's like, what's going on? Why don't we have shows? What's going on? And it's what I do for a living. So I can't have like the rest of the band are like, oh, this is so cool. We have like a month off to learn new songs and like take a break. And then there's me and Zach, and we're like, okay, we've got 2 shows in one day here. We've got 3 shows in a row. I can't take time off where I don't get paid. So I sing for my supper.
So how do you balance that time of being at all of these shows and working on the music and doing the rehearsals with mom life? You sound like me.
I don't.
I am so thrilled to know that I am not the only mom in the world that is like in a panic at the end of the day because nothing balances out.
Social media is a lie. I have friends who are like, oh, I don't know how you do it. You make it look so easy. I'm like, are you kidding me? I cry here. I break down here. Sometimes I'll lose my voice because I'm so stressed out that I'm like, I didn't sleep last night, but here we've got 2 shows in one day. And then I have a toddler. She's 2. She's wonderful, but she's a gremlin and just super smart, but too smart for her own good. And so she's into everything. Then I added a new puppy on top of it, and I forgot how much work puppies are. So, so no, I don't balance it. I just, if I remember deodorant and maybe get a shower in there, I call that a win.
This is for you.
I showered today for this, so you're welcome.
I always have to ask because, like when we first got on, you said, well, my husband took my daughter to go somewhere. And, I am like, my son's in the other room with my oldest because otherwise he would be running through here as total chaos. And so I always wonder, like, how the rest of the world manages all those other things and finds time to fulfill their passion. Like, do you find a balance in there?
It takes a village.
And then how do you find
it? It takes a village. Like, my in-laws, my mom watches Aurora. So, like, if I have to leave early for a show and my husband's not off work because we don't want to take off work, just because I have to go to work. So they'll come and watch her for a few hours before he gets home. Or I have an 18-year-old son, so sometimes he helps out. And but it's not always perfect. Like, I had to sing the national anthem for the Nationals at Houston Speedway and could not get a single person to just sit with her while I sang. So I took her up on the podium, which is like 5 steps up, and then you're over the raceway, and there's this huge gap between where you stand and the actual guardrail. So she could have easily just gone whoop, and she found that gap. And the entire time I was trying to sing, and I'm on TV and streaming live, I'm trying to hold her and sing the banner. I don't know how I pulled it off. I'm not one to usually hey, you rock, Sarah, but I rocked that while chasing after a 2-year-old. And that was one of the worst experiences because you're like, oh my gosh, you're supposed to stand at attention during the national anthem. And here I am like, oh, thinking, So, yeah, it's not always perfect. So I don't, those women that talk about how they have everything organized and everything is perfect, I can't relate. I don't relate to that.
But do you really believe that?
What?
I don't believe it, that everything's perfect. That's possible.
Oh. There are some days I literally am running from my day job. I go grab my son. We get here and I'm like, I have 30 minutes to prep for my next interview. And I really need you to sit and watch Believe for me.
You're like, I haven't had coffee. I haven't eaten. I just really need.
Just give me a moment.
How many kids do you have, may I ask?
Total, I have 4. I only have 1 little one anymore. The other ones are all grown up.
You look amazing.
Well, thank you.
Welcome.
Yeah. Alex was the second one.
If she has wrinkles on her forehead, they're from me.
Yep.
That angry, mean mugging look I got all the time as a teenager.
PTSD from that. My mom still watches makeup sometimes, and I'm like, why are you watching me? I just really enjoy watching people put makeup on. I'm like, well, when I was little, you used to critique me all the time, so please don't watch me put my stage makeup on.
Oh, my son comes in the bathroom and puts makeup on with me all the time. I'm like, this is your palette of glitter. Please stay out of mommy's.
This is
You have all
your
your
glitter.
right? Yeah, he has his own. We bought it at the Halloween store. I gave it to him because it just doesn't go on right. Like, you would have to understand, I hope you would understand, like, some makeups just don't go on the same. And you'll go through 5 of them before you find the one.
You understand that,
And so,
right? Yeah.
right, I am just like, this doesn't work. I don't like that glitter. I'm like, you know what? You can have that glitter.
Yeah.
He doesn't care that it doesn't go on. Like, yeah. So, like, he has his own little makeup, and I have mine, and I'm like, I don't care. Put on your makeup, we're good.
Zach
yeah.
A lot of glitter. Zach likes to do his makeup before shows, don't you, Zach?
Well, of course. When I put the banana hammock on, I got to make sure I'm glittered up. That's it. Inside.
He has asked me to do his hair before, so.
Okay.
We're getting.
So, do you, Zach, is the music side of it, is that for you, is that kind of your full-time gig too? Or do you have to balance like music and like normal jobs that's not in the entertainment industry?
Yeah, unfortunately, I have a full-time job, but fortunately, music is number one. So I just I do my job, but all day, all I think about is music. So I'm sure my boss won't watch this, so I can say, yeah, I'd rather be, if I could not work, which most people would say, yeah, let's not work and let's just play. But
Right.
you got the bills, you know what I mean?
I know. So I tell people all the time, I'm like, someday I hope that just podcasting can just be my thing, and I don't have to like go report to work.
Yeah.
And this can just be it. I can just have that fun.
It's like
because I catch myself at work though too, where you're only thinking about the music in your brain all the time. Where because I own a cleaning business, I'm working by myself all the time, all the day. And sometimes I'm just like, oh, wait, I need to send that email out and I got to reach out to that person. And it's like my brain is constantly on the next interview. Like, I need to set this up, or I need to reach out to this person all day long.
Yep.
You and Zach have that in common. My phone blows up all day. People have their best friends, but I think Zach is like technically kind of like my boss / best friend / who's that? It's Zach. Who do you think it is? He thinks about it more so than I do, I think. He's always looking for the next thing, but that's what keeps us going, and that's what keeps us moving forward, his ideas.
And no shit, I wake up because I get up after 5 every day. So I'm getting ready for work and I'm in the shower and I'm actually, it already started. And I'm thinking different. It's a curse, but it's a good curse.
So you guys write the songs together, correct?
Yes.
And so I always have gotten to this thing where I've started to ask, because I feel like there's so many different processes to creating that music. So when you guys sit down, is it, Zach, do you lay out like the chords and how it's going to sound, and then Sarah comes in and says, hey, like, is your input like lyrical wise, Sarah, or do you also have like input into like how the instruments are going to sound and like what the chords are going to be like and the notes are going to be like and how it's going to flow?
I am the lyrics, and then I usually say, hey, this is kind of what the beat that I was thinking, and maybe like a darker sound here or a more melodic sound here. And then Zach is always like, yep, I already heard that. This is what I have laid out. And so he records, and then he'll send me little sound bites on the phone, and then I start piecing together the lyrics that I have, or that he has. Sometimes he's really a good writer, both ways. He goes both ways. So he'll say, "Hey, I wrote these lyrics while I was driving truck." Don't tell anybody that. Hopefully they don't listen. But I wrote these lyrics. Here, check them out. And then I'll look at them, and then I'm kind of a grammar Nazi, and so I'll go through and fix it. And I'm like, oh yeah, we could put this here, we could put that there, and then kind of add it, mesh it all together, and then he comes up with the music and tells everybody what to do.
So you wake up in the morning, Zach, and like that music is in your head? Is that what you mean by like the music is already there? Like you wake up and you're like, ooh, new song time.
Like different ideas, or I mean, whether it be a song or whether it be a idea for say a show we're playing, something that we could do to attract different people to our shows. I mean, it changes all the time. It don't necessarily isn't like I wake up in the morning and I have a song idea. You might go a couple weeks and not have anything, and then all of a sudden it's like a flood of different things and different ideas. And it might only be just one sentence, but there's an idea for a whole song from that one little piece, what you're trying to go for, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I get it. Okay. So then, like, when you guys initially started out and you're just doing your covers, how did you pick, like, the first covers to work on? Was it based on, like, oh, I really like this song, or, like, this song is really popular?
It's to me, and everybody has a different outlook on how you do that, but to me, whether you like it or not, you have to entertain your audience. And like I could come up with a million different songs. Oh, I love this song. I love it. I want to play it. But is the audience going to get into it? Are they going to jam? You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's why I was just kind of wondering, like, we've had one band come through because I work at a local venue here in Durham, and for the most part, they were just a cover band. And so I've just always kind of like wonder about like when you decide, and all of the covers that they were doing, is a female vocalist, but a majority of the covers that she was singing originally they were all done by men.
Yeah.
So she only did like one female cover. Like she covered like the all-time most popular Evanescence song there is.
Yeah.
Which, that one is always sure to get the crowd going. But like all the other songs were like there was a 9 Inch Nails cover, and there was a Papa Roach cover, and there was a Linkin Park cover, and then there was Killing in the Name of.
Yeah.
Which I'm always kind of like, don't touch Killing in the Name of. Please just leave it alone.
We thought about doing that, and I was like, no, because if you can't do it, like if you cannot do it justice like the way it needs. Not that we wouldn't be able to, I don't want to say that, but I was just like, there's just certain things that you just don't do. And that's one of them. Just leave it alone. just leave it alone.
It's a really good song.
Yeah.
But I'm just like, leave rage alone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just let rage take care of it. You know what I mean?
Just let rage take care of it.
I kind of
most definitely.
Back to what you were saying, like she did a lot of male covers. Unfortunately, I don't want this to sound like super feminist or anything, but we do live in a man's world still, even with everything that women have worked towards and done. It is still dominated by male singers. It just is. To me.
Which is crazy because for Alex and I, 90% of the music that we listen to are female-led bands.
That's awesome. And
Like,
I just feel like,
yeah, like you go through my playlist and it's Icon for Hire, I Set to Kill, Evanescence, Flyleaf, Hot Milk. Like, they're all female led bands. If I was doing a cover band, it would be all that stuff.
But then, like, reality of it is, I mean, if a person really wanted to be honest, there's a lot of male singers out there that cannot emulate what some of the bigger acts do. You know what I mean? Hit the right notes,
Right.
have the power behind it. They just can't. There's tons of great male singers, but the majority of the females can actually hit it.
Right.
Right. You know.
Right. Well, and also I feel like, as I listen to females that step into that and say, I want to cover this, this version of this song and I want to make it my own, but it was done as a male. I feel like, though, at the same time, because females can have such a range
Definitely.
where you can do that and move it around and manipulate it, where maybe a male can't, because you could take something and you could make it just a little bit higher and it's not going to sound wrong.
yep.
If that makes sense.
No, it makes total sense. Makes total sense. And we try. I mean, sometimes they'll throw songs at me. We were just talking about this the other day about how far we've come, because when we first started out, I'm coming from running karaoke, and being the section leader in a cathedral choir, to now I'm in this rock band and we're doing all these pop rock covers, and I'm like, I can't sing that. I can't. There's just no way. Either it's too low or that song is too high. And then Zach would always be like, no, we're just going to try it. We're just going to try it. Let's just see how it goes. And now we're doing all of these covers, from Evanescence to Metallica to 3 Days Grace to we just added System of a Down. And,
wow,
here we are. We're doing it.
And she's nailing it. It's not like cheesy sounding. It sounds like good.
I've been working on my growl. I've been working on it.
If you've ever ran across like a band that, like, listen to them and you're like, they shouldn't have done that song. I don't feel it, but maybe other people watching are like, oh, maybe they shouldn't do that. But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Kind of like how I feel about people covering Rage.
Yeah.
Like, leave that one alone. But then you could do it and it could be like, oh, that was pretty. That was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Or you could I don't know. We try something like, so we try, back to your original question, we try to find songs that are popular but that nobody around us are doing. And of course you're going to have every band does What's Up, every band does All the Small Things, stuff like that that gets the crowd going. I would say within our 3 sets, our first set is all the kind of mainstream popular stuff to get people like, oh, wow, I never thought about making Britney Spears into a blues rock song, or I've never heard I See Red done out of TikTok and in a heavy rock band before. And then you'll get to our second and third set, and it just goes up from there. And that's all of our difficult songs, where not every other band is doing them. We always are changing our song list around. Once we find out another band is copying us, or they are doing that song, we switch, because we don't want to be like every other cover band out there. And we try to pick the songs that were still popular from, so like Evanescence, I will not do Bring Me to Life. I just can't do it. I have PTSD from karaoke. I think it's overdone. It's a great song, but it's overdone. So we do Call Me When You're Sober instead. So that's kind of
Not
what we
my
do.
favorite Evanescence song, but
Just kind of.
I like Haunted. Like if I was gonna pick a song of hers to do, I think it would have to be Haunted.
I do love that one. I never actually thought about that.
I like that one. And then there's one off of the last CD that she had. What was that? But speaking of like taking a popular song and making it a heavy cover, if you like those heavy covers, you should. This is an old one, and I found it on YouTube at one point. It's a group called Rivet Head. And they took Bringing Sexy Back by Justin
really?
Timberlake, and they made it so heavy. I loved it. When the DJ was like, Kittie, I have a song for you. And they threw that in my face. I was like, I absolutely love this.
Rivet?
I love it.
Like Rivet Head, like.
Rivet Head. It's all one
I
word.
think I know which version you're talking about.
Yeah. It's the really super, super heavy one. Has a
I'm
really
pretty
hard
sure
bass
I've
line to
heard
it.
it.
Well, you're
I'm
my
pretty
kid.
sure
You're
I
going to hear it.
Stumbled across it before on YouTube.
Oh,
Just
you
by
might have.
chance.
Lost in Paradise. That's the other Evanescence song. It's called Lost in Paradise.
Don't die on me.
But yeah, that Rivet Head song, that was one of those where they took something that was super popular at the time and they just took this really hard spin on it. And it turned out really well.
That's cool when it happens. And if it happens and it's right on, more power to them. That's what it's all about, you know.
Yeah, it's like, who is the? I'm trying to. You know how like you have something to say and you feel like it's important, and then you completely forgot what you're gonna. I'm fine.
Yeah, just like every day of my life.
So Tears for Fears, but Wake Me did a heavy version of Everybody Wants to Rule the World. And it's so well done. Like, it just made me fall in love with that song all over again.
Oh, nice.
Wake Me, Everybody Wants to Rule the World. You should listen to that. That's a good one. But yeah, I love finding harder versions of your typical pop songs or country songs.
Well, I used to work at Scarlett's, so my goal at one point in time was to always be like, I need the heavy remakes. I can't handle this stuff. How do I stand out? What makes me different? So the DJ would find stuff for me. And that's how the Rivet Head came about. Some of my favorite music that I have now is just because the DJs got to know me so well while I was there. And they were like, I have something for you, Kittie. I was like, oh, you do? Share with my ears.
I loved going to Scarlett's because I'd sit there and I was really popular. Like I always got motorboated. It was a great time. Hey, take the attention. It's fine.
Hey, you know what? Those you always want the ladies at the stage that are going to be there to have fun. The scowling bitch in the back can stay in the back.
Yeah, nobody wants that. Mm-mm.
We don't want her at the
Take
stage.
my money.
You can stay back there.
Take my money.
So yeah, like, you know, in my time that I was there, it was all about like finding the remakes because I absolutely hated retro night. I had to find something that I could fill into those spots. So finding remakes of old songs that were new was like my go-to. And if I was on it.
I think Steve actually auditioned to dance for Scarlett's, didn't he, Zach? Our drummer? He was turned down, right?
I think so. It was for senior night.
He's gonna watch this and be like, I hate you guys.
The one thing that we love doing is giving each other shit. Just
It's all right. That's what
we
it's
were
all about.
actually on Saturday. There and I were doing this show, and I mean, it was two older guys, and you could just tell they were hornier than hell, you know. And she says to me afterwards, she's, if we run across that, you got to say that we're together. And I said, no, because if we said that, they wouldn't be thinking they were going to get some, and we getting the tips.
What he means is
So-
they specifically asked if we were together, and I said, ew, no. But they didn't actually ask if I was married, but I had my wedding ring on. But that they took that as free game, and they were just throwing money and shots at us. So Zach's like, you can't say that we're.
Yeah. He's like, don't ruin it for us.
Yeah.
Let's keep it going.
I was like, you're welcome. You're welcome.
You know, you got to just do what you got to do. I
Good
guess.
for something, I guess.
It happens.
You said this was a safe.
It is a safe space. Yeah. There was a girl that used to travel with me way back when, and we would go back for doing dances. And my favorite line we would always like tag team. And if they said anything, I would always be like, but we come together or not at all.
That's good.
And it made us money. So I get what you're saying about, hey, don't cut off the shots.
Yeah.
Shots are expensive these days. I guess I work at a show venue, and sometimes I'm like, you want me to charge how much for this?
Yeah, dude. I like
Really?
Fireball, and sometimes I'm like, I'm too broke to do Fireball. Sorry.
I'm like, it's a good thing I get a discount on drinks because I wouldn't be able to afford to drink. They're like $16 for a Long Island iced tea. And I'm like, that to me just seems a little expensive.
Dang.
Yeah.
Like $67 is bad here. That's terrible.
Well, and this, again, this is the venue I work at. It's a restaurant on one side, like a bar and restaurant on one side, and the other side is just the music hall.
Mm-hmm.
So we're only open for shows on that side, and I'm assuming that our prices are a little up there because it's considered a show venue.
Probably.
And that if I went to get a Long Island at like Chili's or Applebee's, it wouldn't be $16 plus tax.
Hi, Alex's friend. Hey, what's up?
Oh, is that Sammy walking through?
Yeah, she had to pee and the dogs had to go. The
didn't know
dog
she was in the
started
room.
whining.
Oh my goodness.
I
didn't know
forgot she was
the
in
room.
here, okay?
She's so quiet.
She knows I'm recording.
But yeah, so it's been a fun conversation. You guys are so lovely.
We both have conversation ADHD, so it just goes.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
fine. I think a majority, honestly, of the conversations that we have when we sit down with bands, I have just come to this conclusion in being able to talk with artists that the one common thing we all have in the entertainment industry is ADHD. And the reason that we feel so comfortable in this environment and in this space is because it constantly gives us a place to put that creative side of our brain that's always moving and always working and always going somewhere, but it gives us some place to put that focus. Because while you're on stage, while the lights are going and the crowd is doing things, that's stimulating that one part of your brain while the other part of your brain is still able to channel and focus in on what you are doing at that moment. And the entertainment industry, big or small, just allows us to grow in that space, to blossom and bloom into all of this wonderfulness that we become, where, like I said, I loved being on the stage. I loved that freedom that dancing gave me, and I've always loved music my whole entire life. So now I'm having to find someplace else where, like, can I still fit into this entertainment world? And this is where I landed.
I love that.
That's
But-
cool.
Beautifully said, though.
Thank you.
Beautifully said.
So this being with everybody's ADHD, the entertainment industry just fits us.
Yeah.
And if it wasn't for those of us that have that ADHD on any, from the tiny bit to the extreme, that's what keeps the industry going.
Yeah.
And that's what's going to keep it growing. So it's okay.
I love that.
Yeah.
Be as ADHD as you want all day long.
Just turn it off at your day job and then turn it back on.
Oh no. I can't. Like, I can be scrubbing bathroom walls and my brain is still like, what are you doing? let's turn around and go. I'm like, nope. Up and down, round and round.
It's a circle, not a triangle with corners, but like a circle. It's a circle of life. It's a circle of life. That's my thing, is I say random movie lines and nobody gets them. Before I met my husband, my friends were always like, that's why you're single, right? I'm like, yeah, I know. Because I'm like, hey, that one part in that one movie, and they say this or this Family Guy quote, and they'll just look at me like I'm an alien. I'm like, yeah, it's good times. It's a good story.
We love the ADHDers around here. It's okay. My son has extreme ADHD, so
My
it's,
husband,
like I said, we love the ADHDers around here. It's safe space.
pretty sure my
Safe
daughter's
space.
gonna have it. My husband's on meds for it too, so that's okay.
It's okay.
Oh, yep, there she goes, Mama.
I can. My son's hollering from the other room too. I'm hearing he wants to talk. So, real quick before I let you guys go, it's been a pleasure to chit chat with you. Our time has really flown by. Where can people follow you and find you guys and keep up with your schedule? Because I did see that you guys have a pretty extensive tour schedule still.
Yeah, so we're kind of slowing down now. Shirley Stripped is still busy every weekend. Our next full band show is at the Den, October 26th. They're doing a 3-band show. So there's a rockabilly band called Red Rocket Riot. They play, I think,
Heard of them.
first, and then Funkafried with Chris Garcia's band. They do all the groovy beats, Stevie Wonder, Michael Jackson, B-52s, that kind of thing. Disco kind of stuff, and they're extremely talented. I think they're bringing their horn section too. And then we close out the night with the rock and roll. And then November 1st and 2nd, we're at the Thirsty Duck for a double header there. So, but we're on a little, thank you so much, first of all, for having us on. It's a pleasure and an honor. It's my first podcast. But we're really trying to push Jaded out there and kind of get it in everybody's ears and make their ears bleed, in a good way, hopefully. And so we've got some things lined up and we're just plugging away. It's a lot of work. People don't know that don't, they enjoy listening to the music or podcasts that people put together. But I think that they take it for granted about how much work and time goes into putting these things together. Like after this, you guys are going to have to edit and go back and put it all together for it to be released. And for us, we're constantly calling venues or emailing or sending it out to radio stations or trying to, get some kind of response from somebody. Or on the other hand, then we get contacted all the time, which is never a bad thing. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. And you don't do it unless you love it. That's for sure.
For sure.
So,
for sure.
That was really long-winded. Sorry.
It's okay. So I know you guys are super active on Facebook, and I found your music on YouTube. Are you on Spotify, Apple Music, all the things?
All the things.
All the streaming.
Okay, so everywhere you can find Serious Shirley on all the things.
Yes. And then we have Missing Key is played on Rock Rage Radio, I think still Mud Radio Live. And then we're trying to get Jaded on there as well. So
Okay.
yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So cool. All right. So, awesome. Thanks for coming to chit chat with us.
Thank you.
And you're very welcome, guys. It's been a pleasure.
Alex,
Oh,
you were so great being the silent partner tonight.
Alex is always.
That's Batman. I'm Robin.
Well, there you go. No.
Right. All right. So, to everybody out there, if you want to give Serious Shirley a like and a follow, you can hit him up. Right. Serious Shirley, a like and a follow on all the things, and find them on all your streaming services, and welcome them to your ear holes. Alex, hit the button.
What if I don't want to hit the button?